JingJing Sisters presents
Girlfriend Conversations for Your Soul with JingJing An
and Shiuan Butler. Hi everyone, my name is Shiuan Butler. This is
JingJing An. Hi guys.
Hi everyone. So this is our very first podcast episode of JingJing Sisters presents Girlfriend Conversations for Your Soul. And
yes,
very excited to be here. And I am recording from Maine, US, and JingJing is in...
I'm calling from Tianjin, China.
Yes, and it's the middle of the night for both of us. No, I'm just kidding. But I think first we just want to start out with a little introduction about who we are, and then we'll get into why we wanted to create the podcast. So JingJing, why don't you start with your background?
Sure. So obviously I'm from China. I'm a Chinese, and I grew up in a pretty small city in the northern part of China. And my parents, they both work in universities. I don't have any siblings. I'm the famous single child. So I'm privileged with my parents' love and work as any Chinese kid does. And then I end up being a college English teacher. But last year, I actually had the chance to go to America. And I was under a Fulbright scholarship. I went there. I met Shiuan, the fabulous Shiuan. And I also met a lot of other people. It's like an eye-opener for me. That experience is very important. I really liked that. And because we're called Journaling Sisters Present, so I actually did a little bit of journaling in my high school. But I stopped doing that for a quite long time until I met Shiuan in the US. Yes, that's me.
Do you want to say one thing about why your experience in the US was significant?
Well, sure. Because it's like the first time I ever went a very long and far journey away from my home country. It's like the other half of the world, and that was a first for me. And that's like when I actually feel like this is such a huge world, and there are so many people that you never know of, in the world, living out there, living in a totally different life. And it makes me think about my life too. Like, I can actually live in a pretty different life too. I don't really have to get stuck in my routine life. So that's pretty significant for me.
Yeah. And do you want to share our ages with people? Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Or you can say general if you don't want to say your actual age.
I would always say I'm in my 30s.
You're not in your 30s.
Almost. Like 4
Okay,
months
she's
away from.
Not quite in her 30s. Okay, and I'm 41. So yeah, so we have a big age gap, but yeah, we met in February. I had just come back from Taiwan, from visiting family, and as we all know, the lovely pandemic was just beginning to start over in the US. And at any rate, I came back from Taiwan, had a wonderful time, and wanted to have a place to keep practicing my Mandarin. So I found this Mandarin meetup, and then me and JingJing met, and then I took her to a vegan, because I'm vegan, so I took her to a vegan diner, Veggie Galaxy in Cambridge, which is absolutely amazing. So support them if you can, in Boston. And yeah, and we just hit it off immediately from there. You agree, right?
Yeah. Wonderful experience.
What?
That's a wonderful experience.
So let's see. So I guess to say a little bit about me, I was born in Taiwan. I came to the US at age 6. My mom had divorced and then remarried an American. And we moved around a bunch in the US, back to Taiwan, and came back. And Journaling Sisters has been a few years old now, and I've been journaling, had a diary since I was 6 at least. And when I first had the idea of holding journaling women's workshops, I had no idea that it would become so popular and that women would really enjoy writing and journaling with each other in in a group and in a community space, and that it felt really different from just journaling by yourself at home, or a lot of times like you just might not feel so motivated to journal by yourself at home, just like the same thing as going out to yoga or something like that, if we're all not in a pandemic, of course. So let's see.
Oh, Sharon.
What?
Do you want to talk about why we want to start this podcast?
Oh, yes, thank you. So full circle. So Journaling Sisters has been going on 3, maybe 4 years now. And so JingJing recently had to leave US, had to go back home. And even though I was really trying to convince her to marry an American and stay here, but we could not find someone for her standards, unfortunately.
Not all there.
So I can't hear what you're saying when I'm talking. What'd you say?
There are no good men out there.
So let's see. So yeah, so we had I had this idea of the podcast. We've been staying in touch, with the 12-hour time difference.
Yeah.
And that's been really, really sweet. And then I totally didn't think that she would be into the podcast idea, and I just threw it out there, and JingJing was really excited. So here we are. And it's just really nice to, have other girlfriends that you can talk to about anything. And while it's great, to have your own girlfriends to talk about stuff, sometimes you want to listen in on other people's girlfriend chats and just, get to learn from that. So I think really hope that this can be a space where you can come and get to like listen in on our girlfriend fireside chats, and not feel so alone during this time, and just get to bond a little bit more and feel more connected.
Basically, we'll talk about like relationship, like dealing with parents, dealing with neither of us has children, sadly, so we're not going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about relationship with your friends, with your families, with your partner and stuff. And we're going to share our feelings. Of course, we're going to have difficulties doing those. I'm sure a lot of women feel the same. That's why we want to do this. And it's hopefully it would be fun too. And yes, and another thing, like why do you want to invite other women to join your like journaling sister stuff?
So it's the original mission of Journaling Sisters, which I might have skipped over that. I wanted to create a space for women to slow down and pause and get to reflect on their lives and where you're headed in your life, and make sure that you're still headed the way that you want to be going. And I was living in New York City at the time and just saw all of my girlfriends, just like we were all just go, 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 and just like up to our necks in life and busyness. And just felt like that was really pertinent to what everyone was dealing with. And even after leaving and moving to Boston and just seeing the same thing, you know, just I think that's just the way capitalism, it's how it is these days. Just things are just going faster and faster, even with COVID life, feeling like, you know, sometimes it feels really slow and sometimes it also feels crazy fast too. So yeah, so I think in terms of combining with other journaling sisters activities and workshops, I have occasional live online gathering, writing workshops, and also, I was going to share that later, but I also have a new project coming up with called Butterfly Diaries, which is having journaling questions, pages being sent to you weekly. And so just like reflective questions you can have on your life and kind of like goal planning and how to create a regular journaling habit and all of these things. So those are writing, answering questions on your own. And we'll have an online community too as well. But so in terms of this podcast, I thought was a great way for me to be more, you know, visible and like, you know, and I watch a lot of videos. I'm sure you all do too. And it's just a nice way to like really get to know me
Yeah.
and Jing too.
And this is like the perfect timing to start journaling, right? Because I mean, COVID and messing everything up.
You should talk about your quarantine real quick. We skipped
That's what
over
I'm
that.
gonna do, actually. Yeah, because journaling sister is actually like what Shiuan is doing now is different from what the Dear Diary thing may sound like to people, because I did journaling. I need to say I can say I did some journaling in high school, but that was just like a list of the things I did. Like I did this A B C D F G. That's it. But I think Shiuan, you would always ask me to like dig deep in your emotions, like what's behind those, why are you feeling those feelings, and what's behind it, like what's your story of it. So like inspired by your 121 project, I also started the 14 quarantine journal. So that's when I was doing my quarantine, flying back from America to China, and we have to stay in a hotel room for 14 days. We can't get out. So it's a small hotel room. And I started this journaling journey, actually, writing a little bit every day. And it's
How long did you write for?
I think just like 20 minutes at most.
No, that's great.
Yeah, usually like it's even shorter than that. And it actually varies from day to day, because sometimes you have a lot to say, but sometimes you don't really have a lot. And then I feel like it's part of my quarantine life, and it's helped me go through this transition from, you know, living outside the country and to coming back to your home country, and that could be a difficult time. So I feel pretty anchored with the journaling, my journal and stuff. So if you are confused, or you feel like you have a lot of feelings in this crazy time, I think you can just pick up a pen and start writing things. I think it's definitely will help you to figure out what you are like thinking, or what is confusing you from this everyday day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the butterfly diary. You want to say more about that?
Yeah, I was going to say the quarantine thing, that's really interesting, you know, because for us living in the US, you know, our whole, obviously with the administration or the whole policies around COVID has been like so lax. So to us, it's like, it's really astounding that you actually, it's real serious quarantine. It's like no joke. It's like you go to a hotel straight from the airport, and people, the staff brought you food 3 times a day to your doorstep, like a prison door, and leave it for you outside the door. I mean, it's like, it's no joke. So I think it's really awesome that
Very careful
that they take it really seriously, as they should. So I think I was really impressed at that time that you journaled every day, and like really it seemed like you wanted to, and it was the perfect time to, because you were just stuck in your room 14 days straight. So yeah, 20 minutes is a long time. So
it doesn't have to be long, right? Drawing could take only like 10 minutes or something.
yes, thank you for sneaking in little snippets. Yes. So I'll talk about 121 for a second, that JingJing mentioned about. So 121 is a completely free project. It's goes for 21 days. And at this point, today is October 22nd. It's been going on for a few days already. This is the second round of 121. And so the theme this time around is appreciation of me. So it's your own self-appreciation. And you get daily prompts from me every day for like thinking about just taking a moment to pause and writing down. I have it right here, actually. You're just writing down on a little note, like, what is your appreciation of yourself for that day, and just writing it down on a little piece of paper, and then putting it in an envelope is what we're using this time. Last time was a box, and that's it. And just trying to keep up with that for a little bit, for 3 weeks, and then we're it's going to be leading into butterfly starting in November. So I'm not sure when this podcast will come out, but
I tried the 121 project last time. I have to say it could be a little bit hard to do it every day, but still that's a pretty nice experience.
3 weeks is a long time for a new habit. It's like, that's why they do 7-day challenges, because that's what most people, I think, like to handle, is like 7 days, like, okay, that's okay, I can do that. 14 days, that gets longer, and 21 is pretty long. And it's just like anything else, you reap what you sow, that phrase. You reap what you sow, so you get whatever you put in. It's like the more work you put in, the more reward you get from it. So it's it's basically, it's creating a new habit, which is not easy. So
well, that's why you like plan it for 21 days.
Right. So originally, when I first created 121, the idea was I wanted to help women create a regular journaling habit. And while this is only writing a couple lines, I really just wanted to create this space where this habit, a daily routine where you like pause out of your typical busy life. You're doing things for your kids, your partner, your boss, all these things, and this is just solely focused on you time. And so just like thinking about yourself for a moment, appreciating yourself for a moment, and then going back to your day. So to me, the important thing with self-reflection or with journaling is the consistency. So the important thing is not the length of time, but the frequency, that you do it daily or every other day, that you keep going back to it. Ideally, more than once a week would be good. So, yeah.
I mean, I have to say I haven't journaled in a long time, and now talking about it, I feel like I should start from today. Just a little bit of me, a little
Good.
bit of me would be good.
Yeah, and also you're going to bed soon, so that's the perfect time. Just like take it out for 5 minutes.
Right.
I
Yeah.
actually have, speaking of, I have a daytime, a morning journal book, and then I have a nighttime journal book. I don't know if I explained this to you before, JingJing.
Yeah. Two
So
separate books.
yeah. So just because like, you know, when you open like whatever notebook that you happen to be using, right? Like you kind of have like your mood with that book, you know? So it's like this notebook gives me a certain feeling or mood or energy, and this other book gives me a different kind of energy. So, and also because of where you're at, like you can keep your morning journal at your desk or, you know, or your kitchen table, wherever you go to in the morning. And then your nighttime journal can be by your bedside, and you can do it like in bed. So just depending on, either you can just do one, that's totally fine. Or, you know, or you can have both and take turns and rotate.
Interesting. I never know that.
Yeah, I guess we never talked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And did you talk about butterfly diary enough, or you want to have like anything else to say about that?
Yeah, so basically, Butterfly Diaries is coming up really soon, early mid-November. You can check it out on the website. I'll include the link in the show notes. Yeah, just I mentioned before, so it's based on these three categories that I thought is really important for just like moving forward in one's life. And from what I've seen in the last few years from leading journaling sisters and doing the workshops, it's, you know, it's not quite enough to just, you know, have a couple journaling prompts like a couple times a week or something like that. So I came up with these three areas that are pretty important. So one is for self-growth, emotional growth and development. And I have a long background of my co-counseling, peer counseling activist group. And so we work on our patterns and from childhood and working on in sessions and things like that. So the emotional development piece is really important. And so I include questions in the weekly diary pages, butterfly diary pages about that. The second area is just goal planning, about thinking about your goals and your life. And I call it like strategizing about your life. So thinking more long-term, where you want to be headed in the next few years. If you don't know yet, that's totally fine. But like just starting to like start thinking about it, or just start with your short-term goals first. And then the third area being journaling, and how can you start creating a regular journaling habit and lifestyle. And so all those three things really, I call it like the three legs of the table. They're all really important in, you know, creating this life that you want and what that's going to look like. So the journaling is really important, just in terms of sitting with your thoughts and your feelings and trying to figure out how you feel about things. And having the emotional growth is really important. And then of course, more like concrete, tangible life planning, goal planning is really important. So that all comes together with the weekly diary pages, and it's you know, it's totally doable. It's not like crazy long. And yeah, that is a paid monthly subscription program. It's $23 a month, and you know, you can cancel anytime, things like that. So yeah. So that wraps up that little infomercial. So do you want to talk about a sneak peek to the next one?
Yeah, next episode, we're going to talk about a very important topic in all women's life. That is, why dating is so hard. I believe that is our like common consensus. that we share, that dating is so hard, very hard to find a ideal partner. And basically, it's never hard, it's always hard to find anyone even close to like being ideal. So we're gonna talk about all the interesting things and all those painful things we went through in our dating life.
And specifically, and
Yeah.
just to add specifically, we're talking about dating men, right? So
Yes, dating man, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
so folks know. But yeah, great. So I think that's a wrap, and we will definitely try to get to the next, try to publish the next one soon. But maybe few weeks or within a month, right? We said, I think within a month.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to say something?
No,
No,
I'm
just
afraid you're gonna say something too soon, so we wouldn't be able to make it.
yeah.
A month is good though. A month is good.
So yeah, I'd love to hear your comments down below, anything that what was helpful or useful, or any suggestions, ideas that you'd like us to hear us talk about in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, talk to us.
Okay, that it?
Okay, yeah. Should we say bye?
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.